Okay, team, we're 1 week and counting. I'm so excited. And we're making great progress. I'll keep you updated. Every day, I'll give you a little tidbit of something to think about and a little bit of our progress along. Right now, you're looking at the property. And as you can see, I've got about 1,000 yards along the Paluxy River. And you can see the tan house at the very front, the red barn, and two small cottages along a bluff. So you'll see a beautiful bluff behind that tan house. That's where we're going to work. And by the time you're here, there will be a 36-foot wide deck, half of it covered on the back of that. And we'll spend our time there. We've got a nice work area built out for us. I've got two chefs coming, one for lunch the 3 days, one for dinner Wednesday night. Thursday night, we're going to go to a local establishment called Loco Coyote. I'll give you a little bit of an overview of Loco Coyote. Now, if the weather is really nice, we're going to need to leave by 4:45 because it opens at 5. And the last time I arrived there last week at 5:23, it was a 30-minute wait. It's a big area out in the country, very cool. As you drive up to the property, you'll see the stone entryway with the red bricks. This was originally a park, and I'll give you a little backstory and history. You can see we have 7 buildings. Right now it's actually 6 buildings. We're building the barn behind that other little cottage over right in the middle of the space. That's going to be a facility that's going to handle 25 to 30 people. Our property stretches all the way back to that white house, that 2-story building in the back. We have a creek that runs perpendicular. You can see the tree outlines. So we've got the pasture land, and then we've got the creek. Yesterday, Tanya Fawcett, who is a forensic title researcher, came and shared with us the history of the house. So I hired her for 2 reasons. One, to see if we own the mineral rights, and primarily to make sure that people can't come on the property and dig on the property because they have rights underground. So good news is we've got 100% of the mineral rights. But at the same time, we now have a wonderful history of the property. It's incredible. I will show you a little bit of it here. And it goes all the way back to the 1850s. So one of the iconic structures, as it's described in the literature, it's a 2-story edifice. Now, we're not sure if it was originally a home. We do know there used to be 2 tabernacles on the property. Glenrose became very famous at the turn of the century as a healing center because of the waters of the Paluxy River. In the 1850s, T.J. Jordan came to Texas as an invalid because he heard of the waters of the Paluxy River. He was healed. He went to the state government and said he would build a courthouse if they would make this a county. So over time, it became very famous as a place to come down for spas and water treatments. There were over 200 flowing wells, mineral wells, in Glenrose at one point in time. I will show you where we think one of those was on the property, and it's got a little dated thing, 1930. The 2 tabernacles were part of this property's history. One was near the river, one was up near this house, and when it burned down, this edifice, quote, was built in 1919. Now, I'm going to ask you when you arrive to look for something above the door that would give an indication that it was connected to a tabernacle at one time. This 2-story house was built in 1919, and you'll notice in the stones it's petrified wood, fossils, and local limestone. So it's very unique. It's a historic building in the city. W.W. Hudson bought it shortly after the 2-story building was built in 1922 and turned the land into a park. Now, Glenrose was known for multiple parks. There were 8 parks along the river at one point in time, As you come into our street, Paluxy Street, you'll see Heritage Park. Heritage Park and Fairyland Park were sister parks in the city. And you can see it was also a filling station and a grocery store. Several cottages were on the property. Here's an example of one of the cottages. And there's a stone structure here that is a remnant of the cottages that were on the property at that time. So this was probably built circa 1925, 1930. Now, over the bluff, you will see a pump house. This was the original pump house. And you'll see the land. It's about 100 feet or so to the Paluxy River. Here is the current pump house. And notice the stairs that go up to the bluff. Those stairs were also built circa 1930-ish. And you can walk down them. You better feel very comfortable and agile walking down, because we still don't have a rail and we're bringing a mason in to shore it up. We actually found these stairs about a month and a half after we had moved in. Having walked by here many times, it was so covered over with brush, you didn't even know it was there. And then here it is. So when you go to the creek, you'll find a dam. Based on the stone structure around the dam and the kind of construction, it looks like it was part of the public works during the Depression. This was a public swimming hole. When we send you out to walk and think and reflect, it's one of the areas you can find. And this is what it currently looks like. Here's the front side of it. And then here's the back side. And you can see that over time it is completely filled up to the top of the dam. But you can stand there and see what they saw back in the 1930s. We've also heard from people who have grown up in the area that this property was a favorite playground for the kids, and they tell me of stories of swimming all day in the pool and then horseback on the creek to the Paluxy River. So you can imagine how fun it was to spend the day swimming, playing along the creek, fishing in the Paluxy River, riding your horses up along the pasture land. And like I said, there are grown-ups who have come and told us that this is the activity that they were involved in on the property. It's been very cool to come and people seeing that we're restoring the property. The previous owners took a lot of pride in the property, but the last 10 years of the owners, they were in poor health. So the property really fell into decline. And we're working every day to do a little bit to continue to bring it back to life. We now have the vision for what it could look like, and we're excited to have you come and share it with us.